Hey, 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 it's hump day, yay, 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 yay. What's up, y'all? Happy Wednesday, yay, 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 yay. Back in the game, ain't nothing changed. Let's do the thing. Ah, 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 ah. What's up, y'all? It's Wednesday. I always try to figure out what opening song I want to play. Sometimes I want to hear something, and then sometimes I just play whatever background. I haven't really been into music lately. Nothing appeases me, and my Pandora never agrees with me. I will put every song I like, and they play some old crap. So I'm having a thumbs down a lot of old crap that I don't want to hear anymore. Other than that, speaking of old crap, I went to the gym today and worked these old knees out, and they felt better, but that cold got in them yesterday, and boy, like I said, I could feel that. But yeah, I went to the gym today, had Chipotle today, and just chilled. I mean, there's nothing on the tube really. I watched the new Matlock with Kathy Bates. That was all right. Something I'm gonna actually have to pay attention to because she's doing little investigating things that I'll have to pay attention. And I watched Thousand Pound Sisters are back on. And what else did I watch? Just some Apple TV shows. Nothing exciting. None of the shows that I actually enjoy watching. My husband is actually looking forward to me watching Love is Blind because he thinks it's funny how I go on a rant about that show. But I'm going to try to be calm. I'm sure that the people are going to annoy me. And you know what? If they want to pick these weirdos to marry, fine. I mean, they're weird anyway for going on the freaking show. But if they want to pick somebody that lies about having 3 kids, go ahead. I don't even care no more. That's how I feel about it. So no, maybe I will not do a part 2 review. I don't know. Just depends on how annoyed they make me. Other than that, y'all, I ain't doing nothing but yapping. It's getting colder outside. We got the heated blankets out. My husband, of course, has a fan on still, so he's not that cold. I told him the heat ain't coming on until he want to turn that fan off, so don't even ask. It needs to be straight, at least for me to turn my heat on. It needs to be consistently like in the 50s outside. Right now during the daytime it's in the 70s, so that's not heat weather yet. It's just a little electric blanket action at night is perfect. Other than that, y'all, that is all that is going on in my world. We have not gotten rain where I live in a long time. Which I love, but kind of hate because we need it. But yeah, that's it. It's quiet, and I love quiet, and I'm gonna enjoy quiet. I pray that all is well with you and your families, and whatever y'all might be going through. I pray that God will see you through. He is with you when you pass through the waters, because I know it gets rough out here sometimes, y'all. Like something just pops up. That's why I enjoy my quiet, boring days, because I just know. That's why you got to put on the whole armor every day, y'all, and get prepared, because you just don't know. And I'm praying y'all strength. Y'all pray mine. Other than that, let's get into this news. A Florida man who allegedly tied his dog to a fence and abandoned him as Hurricane Milton approached the state is now charged with aggravated animal cruelty and could face up to 5 years in prison. Why you didn't just let the dog go free? Why you chained him to the fence? Apple announces a new iPad mini offering the first update to its smallest tablet since 2021. Do people still use tablets? Eric and Lyle Menendez's extended family is expected to gather outside of a Los Angeles courthouse as the district attorney weighs whether the brothers should be resentenced and possibly released. Victoria's Secret fashion show returns with help from Cher, Kate Moss, and the OG Angels. We'll take a gander at some of those photos later. A Georgia judge on Tuesday blocked a new rule from the state's election board that will have required counties to count ballots cast on Election Day. Donald Trump doubles down on his inflammatory rhetoric against Democrats, calling them evil and dangerous during a Tuesday night town hall. Rock guitarist Jake E. Lee was struck multiple times in a Las Vegas street, pew-pewing, his management says. How'd that happen? A reunion tour for Van Halen was axed because the group's lead singer David Lee Roth refused to pay tribute to the late Eddie Van Halen, his brother Alex Van Halen reveals in a new interview. Well, that's not nice. Having failed to secure a ceasefire, the Biden administration is signaling that it supports Israel's operations against Iran-backed Hezbollah and group's eventual withdrawal from southern Lebanon. However y'all want to say it. Aeolion. As she steps up for her appeals to black voters, Kamala Harris told a radio program that she is still open to slavery reparations and slammed Donald Trump for allegedly sending COVID tests to Russia when black people were dying back home. The Small Business Administration says it has exhausted funds for its disaster loan program following increased demand from Hurricane Helene. The arrest of a deaf black man with cerebral palsy who was repeatedly punched and tased by a pair of Phoenix officers in August and later charged with aggravated assault and resisting arrest has come under new scrutiny. A storm system in the Atlantic could potentially strengthen into a tropical depression as it heads toward the Caribbean later this week, according to National Hurricane Center. The New York Jets have acquired wide receiver Davante Adams from Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a conditional draft pick. Davante stuck with Aaron Rodgers again. He can't get away from him. Jennifer Grey shared an update on a long-delayed Dirty Dancing sequel at the BFI London Film Festival premiere latest. Is she American? I don't know. I never knew what baby was. Walgreens says it plans to close 1,200 stores over the next years as it seeks to further downsize its footprint amid flagging sales and changing consumer behavior. Boeing says that it could raise as much as $25 billion in shares or debt over 3 years, a move to increase liquidity as the manufacturer faces a more than month-long machinist strike and problems throughout its aircraft programs. The Trump campaign and RNC staffers were central players in attempts to stop the count in Detroit in 2020. Next month, they claim 200,000 patrons will volunteer to watch the polls. Cafe Olin in New York's Harlem neighborhood has become a social media and community presence after a family member took the small restaurant in a new direction. People saying Michelle Obama hasn't hit the campaign trail. It's kind of getting late for that. It's like 30 days and less. NFL owners approved Tom Brady as a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Brady just throwing around that change, ain't he? Hundreds of veterans who were dismissed from the U.S. military under the now repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy have been given honorable discharges following a year-long review. That's a long time coming. Especially now that everybody can be what they want to be. They should have been and rectified that. A gathering in North Carolina last year resulted in 10 probable cases of parasitic infection from undercooked bear meat. Oh, why are y'all eating bear meat? ISIS-K, the Afghan branch of Islamic State, directed a man's full U.S. election day terror plot, according to 2 senior U.S. officials. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries vows a calm, stable governance over Republican chaos if his party wins a majority in 2024. A growing number of Americans with auto loans own more than their vehicles are worth. You don't say. You didn't need to do a study. I could have told you that. After 4 weeks, we talked about this. A pro-Hamas organization that has helped organize protests on American college campuses is a sham charity that fundraises for a terrorist group, the Treasury Department says. The Buffalo Bills have acquired wide receiver Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns in exchange for a third-round pick, the team announces. A Texas judge says she would not drop her lawsuit against a state commission that publicly sanctioned her for refusing to officiate same-sex weddings. All right, I think we're at the repetitive state, and I know for a fact I didn't like anything on here today. So nothing was likable. Let's see. Former MTVJ Ananda Lewis shares a heartbreaking update on stage 4 breast cancer battle. Oh, Ananda. She's 51. She says she avoided mammograms for years, fearing the effects of radiation, but despite her efforts to treat the cancer naturally, she's now facing a more advanced stage of the disease. Yeah, it's scary either way. She says she believed that her body could heal itself and decided to approach her treatment with a focus of eliminating toxins. You just never know, man. It's like you danged if you do, you danged if you don't. Because it's like everybody has that choice to make if you want to do the whole radiation thing or try to just live a healthier life, a strict, holistic. But yeah. Donald Trump warns rally crowd hydrogen cars could leave you unrecognizable. You say that, but then you're going to let Elon do all kind of crazy stuff. New lawsuit alleges Diddy brutally assaulted a woman using a TV remote as payback for Tupac comments. "50 Cent announces his first ever Las Vegas residency in the club." Fox News slammed Vogue for featuring Kamala Harris but snubbing Melania Trump. She was a model. Nearly 10 million pounds of meat recalled due to listeria impacting major retailers like Walmart, Target, and Trader Joe's. Y'all gotta stop eating this pre-cooked meat. Alright, let's see what else we got on here, y'all. So, the BET Hip Hop Awards for here tonight. And Metro Boomin and Kendrick Lamar won Best Hip Hop Collaboration. Metro Boomin, Kendrick Lamar also won the Best Feature Verse, and they also won Best Duo for a Group. Nicki Minaj wins Hip Hop Album of the Year. Kendrick Lamar wins Hip Hop Artist of the Year. Young Miami was dressing as Trina, a throwback to that outfit. Travis Scott was honored with I Am Hip Hop Award. What are people saying about this? I ain't never heard nobody say turn on. Me neither. I thought I was just hating because I'm like, I honestly don't even know a Travis Scott song. But I am old. Somebody said if I say anything, I'm going to sound like a hater. So only suburban kids listen to him. All I think about when I hear his name is that sacrificial concert he had. Somebody says he's the highest in the room. Yeah, I was shocked by this too. I don't know. Did he pay for this award? I mean, it's a BET award, so. Sexy Red won for Best Breakthrough Hip Hop Artist. I don't know any of the people she went against either. Tyra Banks made her return to the Victoria's Secret's fashion show 20 years later, and she was rocking her real hair, y'all. Get it, Tyra? I love that Tyra is just being curvaceous and herself. I love that for her. Tyra like, yes, this is me, honey. I've been a model all these years and now I'm rich and living well. She looked good. She really did. Ice Spice in this little short fro. They say it's a wig. I don't know. I don't know this girl, but her name is... I mean, I know her. She's a basketball player. But I don't know how to say her name. Carice or something. Lala. Lala. I don't know if it's because she's good friends with Kim Kardashian, but I just don't care for her. Tyla. People said they hate her stylist because she always like has on a swimsuit or something. Tyga. Cher is still getting her back blown out by this young dude, AE. Cher is still looking good, baby. Dylan Sprouse, have no clue who this guy is. Queen Latifah was out with her woman, Ebony Nichols. Coco Jones. She always looks like somebody from the 50s, meaning her face. She's got that classic face. Sunny Lee, she's an Olympic girl. Jordan Woods. Jackiana. I still have no clue who Jackiana is, honestly, I don't. Jodie Turner-Smith always looks great. She can do no wrong in my eyes. Law Roach, that's Zendaya's stylist. His suit looks so itchy to me. And Angel Reese with the crochet. This 64-year-old pregnant woman, which I talked to her about her like months and months ago. I guess the father don't want the child. Arguing with your baby daddy at 64 is nasty work. Even the arguments sound old as hell. The baby gonna come out eating butter pecan ice cream and watching The Young and the Restless. They having a grandbaby. Older people argue so civil they let each other talk and everything. Child support's finna take his social security. 64 and still having sex is exactly how I want to be. People never change. He old talking about a DNA test and it's not his baby. 64 still getting your period is wild. Buying diapers and Depends at the same time is crazy. Unc was going in raw, reckless, thinking stuff was sweet. There's some Old Testament. Having baby daddy drama at 64 is terrible. Kayla Nicole opens up about comments she made about on Angel Reese's podcast. She says she goes back. She would change the way she said things. Kayla, you said it. Stand on it, girl. It's too late. Because you did stand on it when you said it. Just... Somebody said, I don't know if she deserves grace for taking responsibility. I mean, yeah, it happened in her 20s. Girl, give us a break. We don't care. Y'all need to leave this lady alone. Girl, forget them people. I hate when people apologize. Yeah, I mean, if that's how you felt at the time, like, why apologize? Tia Mowry speaks on not telling her sister Tamara that she was returning reality TV. It's normal for you not to tell everyone everything. Listen, guys, you just have to face the facts that Tia and her sister are not close anymore. It's just sad because you saw them on that little show, but life happened and now they're not close anymore. It's sad. You hope all sisters you see are close, but it's just not life. What age you stop and outgrown this club scene? I was over it by 21 because I went to the club so much in the military at a young age, like for 4 years nonstop, because there was nothing to do, especially when I was in Korea. There was nothing to do every weekend but go to the club. So I was really over the club scene very early. So I would say like definitely 21. Baby, is club bad at home for me? I'm at the age where I'm more concerned with grammar of this question than going to the club. Ain't no age. When I want to stay home, I do. When I want to go out, I do. When you're smart enough to start traveling the world instead of traveling to nightclubs. Yeah, only like somebody said, I want to be at a day club on the beach where we on the ocean and they playing music. That's really nice. Super Bowl, I don't know what number that is, but it's headed back to Atlanta. And if y'all ain't gonna tell me what, it's 62, okay, because I would never guess what that is. It's headed back to Atlanta in 2028. It's gonna be a whole mess, ain't it? Um, Fat Joe opens up about using Ozempic to maintain his weight loss. And somebody cracked me up in the comments. They said, so should we refer to him as Joe now? Now he's just Joseph. Y'all forgot to mention he's actually diabetic. At least he's honest about it. Somebody said, is his name Joe Zempic? At this point, we should start calling him Medium Joe. Jenny Craig walks so Ozempic could run. This one was the funniest thing. They said, y'all think when he did his injections, he just leaned back. And that was so corny but funny. But yeah, they said he did have diabetes too, y'all. So he actually needed the Ozempic. Lizzo has been eating the gals up with her weight loss and her outfits. I actually really love the outfits. Definitely do. All right. Let's see what else. I'm always leery on World Star because World Star be having some crazy titles. The NFL and Jay-Z have extended their deal for the Super Bowl halftime show. So Jay-Z gonna make y'all mad again next Super Bowl. Kendrick Lamar wins 8 awards at this year's BET Hip Hop Awards. Bow Wow's facing backlash for saying he misses the Diddy parties. Kamala says no one should go to jail for smoking weed. I wanted to look at the fashions, but I mean, we saw some of them, but I think that's it. I don't know. But let's get into these Reddits, y'all. What is the most awkward thing you've ever accidentally said or done in a serious situation? I got too many to name because I'm just like sometimes the most unserious person. Maybe not that serious, but as I was getting rung up by a cashier and he handed me my receipt, my brain couldn't decide between thanks, homie, and thanks, bro. So my mouth was like, thanks, homo. When people tell me like, have a good day, I always say the same, even though they are work, and I always feel like that's really awkward. Or thanks for coming in. They'll say thanks for coming in, and I'll be like, you too. But I mean, I guess it could mean the same, but it's always so awkward when you say that. My grandmother passed away. My mom was finishing up her cremation arrangements when the local funeral home, where my dad passed away in a car accident 2 weeks later. My mom calls up the funeral home, and her grief stricken sense of humor forces her to ask if they have a 2-for-1 deal on cremation services. My husband on the phone, I've got really bad news. My friend passed away this morning, but he wasn't supposed to do that. At my first big job interview, I was insanely nervous. The interviewer asked, how do you handle stress? And I suddenly let out a little loud fart. Dang. Well, that's one way to get rid of stress. At a funeral, someone leaned over and whispered something kind to me during a quiet moment. I meant to say yeah or thank you, but somehow I combined the two loudly and said, yank you. The whole room turned to stare, and I just wanted to crawl under a rock. My parents took my son to a funeral when he was like 6, and he barked really loud, and my parents were really mad at him. But I told them he was too young to go. My son was the king of doing inappropriate things when he was younger. Instead of saying enjoy as I dropped off my table's food, I said good luck, and I have no clue why. It seemed so threatening. I just walked away. An old couple was pushing around an obviously upset baby. I said that she probably misses her mom. They then informed me that her parents passed away in a car accident a couple of days ago. I mean, you didn't know. But that's why you just don't say stuff to people sometimes. I walked into my office and the lady from HR was sitting in my chair. I said, well, it looks like I'm going to have to sit on your lap. And then she says, come on over, giddy up. My face turned bright red. She left. I sat down. We never spoke of it again. This is a hard one for me, but it used to get me into a lot of trouble. But I have ADHD, and sometimes in a really tough situation, I would bust out laughing. It was uncontrollable, and I never meant it, but people get so upset with me, and I would have to leave the room. Not something I said, but did. Some people do just laugh at serious situations. Well, moments ago, I just got told that by a World War II vet that I used to see a lot more of y'all earlier in my career in reference to them passing away, so there's that. My coworker's daughter passed away of a drug overdose. Sometime later, she asked me what I was doing after work. I told her I was going to do drugs. Why? Why did you say that? Wedding photographer. 6 bridesmaids having trouble communicating who wanted to move. I blurted out, the skinny one. In a customer's house repairing his dishwasher. I don't even use a dishwasher since I lost my wife. Me, have you gone out to look for her? Sorry. I only think about those many things when I'm laying in bed. This past Saturday, I saw my nephew unexpectedly at a relative's house, and I called him his unalive father's name instead of his name. He's 17 and the sweetest kid, and now I felt awful. Well, that wasn't on purpose. Laughed at a funeral. Nothing was funny at all. I was sad and mourning, but I don't know what happened. I just let out a laugh for a second. Very awkward to say the least. Like, if I go to a funeral and something happens, because when people are so grief stricken, sometimes they're so funny. And I definitely like almost laugh at funerals all the time. Like, whether it's like my uncle, for instance, at my grandpa's funeral, like, he's a deacon, but he couldn't remember like a very simple like Lord's Prayer, which every deacon should know. And then he acted like he couldn't see the Bible verse, and so my aunt gave him her glasses, and the glasses were pink. And so him struggling through that verse and wearing them pink glasses was already hard enough not to laugh at, but then he just snatched the pink glasses off his face and ran out of the funeral home. And it was really hard for me not to laugh because his kids was right behind me, man. I just looked at his kids and they shook his head. But man, oh man, I wanted to laugh so bad. That was hard. Woo, I held it in. I'm proud of myself because I really could have just laughed my head off. That funeral was so funny. Everything was so funny. Everything. Those who grew up poor, what is something those who weren't poor don't understand about being poor? Why do we need them to understand? They'll never understand it anyway, unless they like watch a TV show and they still won't understand it. The constant fear of running out of money that creates this weird obsession over guilt about spending money, even when you've got decent finances. I grew up poor and my partner grew up upper middle class. We have managed to carve out a pretty comfortable life, but I still have panic attacks about money, being able to afford essentials like food, rent, etc. They are flabbergasted every time it happens, like supportive, but completely confused as to why I get so upset. My response is always, money can run out. I mean, it can, and in this economy, unless you're just really, really wealthy, everybody should be trying to save or be responsible over their finances. how much relationships matter. You're a lot safer in a dangerous neighborhood if you know and have good allies, friends in the neighborhood. It's a lot easier to share a bedroom with 4 or so other people if you like those people. You can afford that new car part, but if you know that dude in the neighborhood who fixes cars, he might hook you up. Listen, the hookup, being poor and having a hookup is just, it's so clutch. And I miss those days of having somebody who you can get like a cheap mattress from, a TV, a this or that. Like the hookup person is just, I love that. I hate the days now. Everybody too good for those booster clothes. Man, you should know a booster, man. You can get, at this time of year too, you can get any kind of coat you want from a booster, man. Those are the good old days. Being poor is very expensive. For example, if you're unable to afford to pay a speeding ticket, it will accrue late fees, making it even harder to pay it off. If you need money right now to buy food or rent, payday loan shops can help you. But yeah, payday loans are the worst things. If you have a toothache and you can't afford to see the dentist, it can grow into something worse. Yeah, it could be costly. Valentine's Day and Halloween snacks at school. Yes. When you're starving and there's nothing to eat, so the only options left is to try to sleep because you hope when you can wake up. You know, one thing I try to make my kids do, and I call this live off the land, but my kids really don't know what it's like to like eat what's in the cabinets. Like, and thank God we have food in the cabinet, but these new age kids have no clue what it's like to eat what you got in the house. And that bugs me so much that kids could just DoorDash or whatever. Like, they don't know what it's like, man. And like when we were growing up, you couldn't even go to a restaurant like at a certain age because you was gonna waste the food. Like, these new age kids will never know what it's like to eat what's at home. They won't. They really won't. Let me see if any AI, what is it? Am I the a-holes are interesting enough? What? Am I the a-hole for divorcing my husband after catching him in bed with our married neighbor and exposing her to her husband? No. This is honestly such a mess, and I don't know if I handled it the right way, but here we go. I'm 34 and have been married to my husband, who's 36, for 7 years. We have an 8-year-old autistic son, and life's already been pretty stressful for both of us. I thought we were handling it as a team, like we were in this together, but until a few weeks ago when everything fell apart. We live in a small neighborhood where everyone's pretty friendly, and I got along well with our next door neighbors, Emily, 32, and her husband, Dave, 35. Emily and I weren't super close, but we chatted often. Our kids played together sometimes, and our husbands would occasionally hang out too. At first, I thought it was nice that my husband and Emily seemed to get along, just neighbors being friendly. But then things started to feel off. My husband just became more secretive, especially with his phone, and he always seemed to bump into Emily when I wasn't around. He'd go out for random walks or suddenly needed to run errands right after dinner. I noticed these things, but I didn't want to seem paranoid. I mean, we've been through a lot together. I didn't think he would do something like that to me. Then one day, everything came crashing down. I had to come home early from work unexpectedly because our son's school had a half day and I forgot about it. I walked in, and there in our bedroom, I found my husband and Emily together in our bed. I felt like the world stopped. They both freaked out when they saw me, my husband scrambling for clothes, and Emily crying, saying it was a mistake and that she was so sorry. I couldn't even process it. I just walked out. Later that night, I confronted my husband, and he admitted to having an affair with her for the past few months. He begged me to forgive him, said it was a stupid, impulsive thing, and swore he loved me and didn't want to lose our family. I was heartbroken, but I couldn't even look at him. I had no idea what to do, but I knew I couldn't stay with someone who would betray me like that. And then there's Emily's husband, Dave. I knew him well enough to know he was completely in the dark about all of this. I couldn't just stay silent and let him be blindsided like I was. So the next day, I went over to their house while Emily was out and told Dave everything. I even showed him proof, text, pictures, everything. He was devastated, obviously, but he thanked me for being honest with him. And that's where the real drama started. Both my husband and Emily went ballistic when they found out I told Dave. My husband said I should have kept it between us and worked it out for the sake of our son. Emily called me all kinds of names since I had no right to tell her husband and ruin her life. She even claimed it wasn't serious and that I blew everything out of proportion. Now Dave is considered considering divorcing her, and I've already filed for divorce myself, but I'm getting a lot of flack from mutual friends saying I went too far. Girl, them ain't your real friends, okay? Duh. Not the a-hole. You did the right thing divorcing your husband and telling your neighbor. This was no mistake for sure. Is none going on for a while. Good luck to you. Yeah, I mean, this is not the a-holes. Like, come on. I wouldn't even waited till the next day. We would have been like, let's go talk to your husband about this immediately. All right, y'all. Let's see what I got in my story time.
Please don't embarrass yourself.
You talking about don't embarrass myself?
I have a nigga. Don't embarrass yourself.
Who's your nigga?
You must not know. Nas!
Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Those fuckers. Damn it. Damn it. Get out of here. Fuckers. Get the fuck out. Get out of here.
That squirrel was effing him up. I don't know what he did to that squirrel, but that squirrel was not playing with him.
The search for an evil Uber driver after a working mom, Shanti, calls for a car after work and never makes it home. When they make it to the drop-off location, Shanti asks the driver to wait for a moment. She'll order a second ride home when she finishes her errand. The driver agrees, and Shanti orders the second ride, which is completed in just minutes.
A few hours later, Shanti's family realizes she never made it home. The mom isn't answering her phone either. When Shanti is still unaccounted for 24 hours later, her family reports her missing and heads to her home to search for clues. Inside her home, a family member finds Shanti's Apple Watch. The watch shows Shanti's phone is still pinging, not far from her home. The family walks toward the phone's location, ending up in a wooded area about 2 blocks away.
Police had to rely on, app traffic, Uber capturing, or Lyft, the rideshare in this case, capturing the location of that vehicle to help narrow down this search. It's absolutely difficult in an urban environment, the challenges that investigators face locating an individual amongst tens of thousands of other individual vehicles that look the same. This is a very challenging environment to track one person down.
The search.
Wow. I hope they find her.
Y'all hear about the lady that poisoned her parents and then lived with the bodies in her house for 4 years? Yeah, the police came busting in. They were like, you're under arrest for suspicion of offing your parents. She was like, suspicion? Don't be suspicious. I did that. We can confirm this today. They were like, we're going to check the house now. Is there anything we should know about? She was like, my dad is upstairs still. They were like, okay, you got to tell us where your mom is. She was treating her mom's body like it was show and tell. She was like, officers, it's kind of complicated to explain where I put my mom. Can I just bring you to it? Can we go together? Can we please? One of the officers looked sad because this is a sad story. And she was like, cheer up. Smile, guys. You caught a bad guy. Hey, come on. Why do we look so sad for it? This is a happy moment. Like, she was mad cooperative. She was like, I knew this would happen eventually. Like, I couldn't just be here for a 5th year with my parents in my house like this. Definitely not a 6. You feel me? I was surprised I made it this far. And it took no time at all for her to tell the police everything. They didn't even leave the house yet. She was like, yeah, so I poisoned 4 of my dad's drinks, but he only drank 2. Motherfucker wasn't thirsty. I don't know why. He usually is. Y'all hear about the lady that poisoned?
She was over it, I guess.
There's your shit. Now look at something there. Oh.
I know damn well your ass ain't laying up here with your mind phone.
That is just so wrong to do that to somebody. He was getting some good rest, too.
When was the last time your toenails didn't have nail polish on them? If you can't remember, it's probably time to take a break. We tell most of our patients that the fall and winter are a great time for your nails to take a break and rest. We often like to say we should have a time that you let your nails breathe, but nails don't physically breathe. What we mean by this is for them to allow to absorb moisture, therefore preventing breaks and cracks in your nails. If You want to go into this next summer with healthier, stronger nails, then give them a break this winter when they're tucked away in your snow boots. When was the last?
I know that's right, because Lord knows I love a pedicure break in the winter.
The paper.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to tell you what to do with this paper, but I can't tell you twice.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
I'd like you to take this paper with your right hand, fold it in half, and drop it on the floor.
Okay. Now, I didn't get my stuff out of here. Where'd I get it at? Where'd I get that at?
What do you do with it next?
I will turn it over like this.
Okay. Then what?
And say, look at this one over here too. What's this? I don't know anything about this one. Yeah.
Remember what else to do with it?
You could also, I don't know, it's
pretty good. Well, I'm going to borrow it back, okay? I'm going to write something.
Pardon me.
I'm going to write something on it and see if you can read it. But tell me first, what do you call this thing I write with?
That's my pen.
Yeah, okay.
Which I
What's
don't
this
have a
thing?
pen. I got it just
Oh, well, you might have one
He
somewhere.
probably does.
Yeah, you might have
No,
one.
You didn't pop.
Oh, doggone.
Didn't give you a
I
chance.
forgot to put it
You
in there.
did. Well, how about this? What is this thing on my arm here? You tell me.
That's nice right there.
What is it? Do you know what you call that
That's a
thing?
915. Or 930, pardon.
Yeah. But what do you call that thing? It's one of she
I
got
have one. What are these? What's that called?
I can't see it.
But what's it called?
I don't know.
That's
All right.
okay. That's okay. I'm gonna write something down. First off, I'm gonna see if you can repeat something. Can you say no ifs, ands, or buts?
No ifs.
Can you say that?
Or buts.
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay.
You said that. That's pretty good. How about I'm gonna see if you can read what I write. You never know, do you? Till you try. Can you tell me what that says? What does that say?
He's doing it.
Close. Eyes. Ear. Open. No, that's not eyes. It's not eyes on there. Not on there. No, that'd be too challenging.
You can't read it for him. He's so ornery. He was ornery before. That's
You're
part
not
of
ornery, are you?
that's part of what it is. We see it coming out in him sometimes. It's so
I'm gonna
funny.
get you to repeat something else. Can you say today is a nice day?
Oh, it is.
Can you say that?
It is a good day.
Try to say that. Say today is a nice day.
Today is a nice day.
Yeah, good. Can you say I'm the paper?
Okay.
It's just crazy how the mind just goes. Whew. It's crazy. And they still don't have a cure for this stuff. It's just crazy to me.
Meet Donald, former owner of the Los Angeles Clippers who got banned for saying racist things, but it's what he said that's the interesting part. See, Donald had a problem. He got this one girlfriend, right? Her name is V. She records one of their conversation and listen, he says, I love black people, but V, why I seen you taking a picture with a black person? V's like, you know who that black person was, right? It was none other than Magic Johnson. Donald said, yes, he rocks with Magic Johnson, but his problem was people saw this picture and called him, and that it wasn't a good look for him. She says, so you don't like black people? He loses it and tells her she can be around black people all she wants. She could even watch Netflix with them, but just not in public. She says, you know I'm part black, right? He says, oh. He says, no. Can you remove it? She says, remove my black? He says, let's just change the subject. They change the subject. He wakes up the next morning and the tape's on TMZ. Now, here's where it starts to get wicked. See, this was during a year when the Los Angeles Clippers were finally really good. And they were about to play in a much anticipated game against the Golden State Warriors. The world was watching. They walk out and they cover the Clippers logo. The NBA said, ooh, that's not good, but they did the protest and okay, good. Then boom, the Miami Heat, and most importantly, the best player in the world, LeBron James, flips their jerseys inside out. The NBA goes, oh, we gotta do something. Now, to be fair, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, was always gonna do something, but no one knew what. Donald was still the owner of a team. You can't just take his team away from him. Adam, the commissioner, said, we're taking his team away from him. The commissioner gives Donald a lifetime ban from the NBA and forces him to sell the team. Donald said, I ain't selling no team. All the other owners got to get it approved. First of all, Adam said, everybody approved it. He said, oh. Donald said, well, can you prove that I'm racist? They said, well, here are the court documents of you being sued for being racist. At one point, you said you wanted players who were poor, black, and from the South, and you wanted them to be coached by a white head coach. What'd that look like to you, Donald? Donald said, that don't look good. Donald Sterling's wife came in. He's married, by the way. She said, we can stop all this talking. I just sold the team. Donald said, ooh, the ops is here. Just because she's my wife and I gave her part ownership of the team. Can she do that? His lawyer said, yeah. Donald said, well, can we appeal the decision? The lawyer said, yeah. He takes the appeal and the lawyer never files it. So Donald claims that the NBA scammed him out of his team. He tries to sue them. A judge basically calls him an idiot, and the rest is history. Meet Donald.
You know, when you're rich and you can do what you want with your money, it's gotta suck.
Close to. Whoa. What the hell?
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
They would try to do a U-turn. I don't know who's in that U-Haul, but them people standing by that U-Haul while they were doing what they were doing, brave. I would have been nowhere close to that thing.
Here are my symptoms leading up to my cancer diagnosis. Okay, so just to forewarn you, my first symptom might be a little TMI, but I mean, it is what it is. My first symptom was actually having blood in my stool. I did go to the doctor for it a couple years ago, but they just brushed it off as hemorrhoids because of my age. They didn't really look too deep into it. My second symptom, which was the most obvious, my stomach aches that eventually turned into really bad cramps. I did go to the ER quite a few times for this. Each time I went to the ER, they pretty much brushed it off. They would do a pregnancy test and a COVID test. Since those came back negative, obviously every time, they just prescribed me with ibuprofen or naproxen depending on the day, and then sent me back to work, and they said I'll be okay. So I was stationed in Japan at the time, and we didn't have a hospital on our base. We had a clinic, but not a full-blown hospital. So if you needed to get seen right away, you'd have to drive over to the Marine base and get seen there. Long story short, I went a few times. I felt like I wasn't being taken seriously, so I kind of just put it on the back burner and focused on work, and then just like pushed through the pain for the rest of my tour. So once I PCS'd from Japan to Korea, that's when my third symptom started to kick in. And, well, it wasn't a symptom. It was more of a side effect. It turns out I was losing way too much blood over the course of a couple years from having the bloody stool. Again, I'm sorry, TMI. But yeah, I was getting lightheaded very easily over just the simplest of things, like if I stand up too fast or if standing up for too long, you know, I'd feel dizzy and I felt like I was about to pass out. So yeah, those are the symptoms that led me to being diagnosed with cancer.
That's so sad, and the military is the worst at that. Like, I've seen so many soldiers pass away because they weren't taken serious or they thought they were trying to get out of work, and it's just sad that, you know, it's 2024 and people still getting treated like that in the military. But hopefully she's on the mend. I need to follow up with her.
Up on The Factor tonight, an incredible, fascinating, and compelling story of self-discovery and family. Decades ago, Lacey Tazzino's biological mother made a life-changing decision while pregnant in a bar just off of Montrose Boulevard. Ultimately, Lacey ended up being adopted while also being truly loved by that adoptive family. But there were also hidden secrets, like being told her birth mother was dead and she was white. She was told told she was white while growing up in the sundown town blacks were told to avoid called Vidor, Texas. It's truly a layered slice of life filled with love, confusion, and coming to terms with the hand life has given you. Lacey joins us now here in the studio to talk about it, sharing it for the first time on broadcast television. Of course, you did it on the podcast where I saw it. I stole it. So, but incredible story. So take us to the beginning. It starts off in a Montrose bar from what you can recall and what you've been told.
Yes. So Michael's was owned by my father, Ronnie Huckabee. So he was one arm running this bar. It was Michael's was the gay bar. Next door there was Michelle's. It was the lesbian bar. And my mom was a regular there. She would come in. All of her friends knew him. And when she was pregnant with me, she found herself in the bar. And she had already made up her mind that she was going to have an abortion. She didn't tell my biological father that she was pregnant. So he was a trucker. They were out in California. She finds out she's pregnant. She flies home to Houston, and she knows what she's going to do. She's at the bar. She's drinking. She's pouring her heart out to my dad, who's there. He owns the bar. And he wanted a child so bad. For many years, he always wanted a family with his lifestyle, couldn't have one. And so when she's telling him her story, he wanted me. He said, you know what? He found an opportunity. He saw an opportunity where he could help her out and said, okay, I'll take her. What do you need? I'll take care of you. I'll pay for everything. And so right then, the next day they made the agreement, and he took care of her. And he provided for her, made sure she stayed clean until I was born, and then they signed the papers and he adopted me.
And when, obviously, he wanted her to stay clean because she was carrying you.
Yes.
And didn't want any harm coming to you because you would be his new daughter.
Yes.
And when they signed the adoption papers, certain things were put on that paper that had you conflicted for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all the legal points back then, but for them to actually put on the paperwork that he was my father, so they had made the agreement. They said, okay, for this to happen, we're basically saying that she's given up her rights, and that he was the father, and that, my mom was no longer going to have any rights, and that, his race was white, and that my mom's race was white, which was untrue. And so when I had the adoption papers and my family was told that he was my dad, right? And so that was part of the confusion was, okay, that wasn't the race, obviously. They didn't put my mom's correct race. And then they also didn't tell the truth that he wasn't my biological father, that it wasn't my mom just giving her rights away. He wasn't the biological father. And so that wasn't told until, revealed to me until I was 18.
And of course, you ended up with him moving from Houston to Vidor because he became sick.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So he didn't have any plans on moving back. So when he adopted me, he planned to stay and live in Houston. He had an apartment near Montrose. And so he even hired a nanny from Mexico. And she was living with us. So it was just the nanny and him. We were living there. And then he was in remission for a while. So he had cancer. That's why he had one arm. He had a piece of cancer in his hand, and the doctor cut it in half, and it spread up his arm.
Wow.
So they had to cut his arm off. And so, but he had been in remission for a long time. He was doing great, running the bar. Everything was good. And then when I was 18 months old, it came back. And they kept monitoring his arm and, his lungs where it had spread, but it had spread to his brain and they didn't catch it. And so by the time it got to his brain, he got really sick. And so we had to move back to Vidor because, he just couldn't care for me on his own.
And how long were you in Vidor with him alive?
From 18 months old, so he passed when I was 6.
And so when he died and you were 6 years old, then the responsibility went to your grandparents.
It did.
So what was that like?
From what I can remember, my grandparents were devastated. that was their only son. And so it was a really, really sad time. But where I lived, right around the corner, so my dad had 2 sisters, and we all lived like right there on the same corner. And so I kind of went between the 3 houses. So I had 7 cousins. We all lived right there. And so my grandparents were really grieving and struggling. And my grandmother also lost her mom a month after my dad. And so that was a really dark time. But I remember being surrounded by love. My cousins, my 2 aunts, my uncles, like everyone loved me. They took care of me. It was, although it was sad, I was well taken care of when that happened. Yeah.
You said you were the special one in the family, and some of your cousins got jealous as a result of you being so special.
I was spoiled.
Yeah, exactly. And keep in mind, for the viewer out there those who don't know about Vidor, Texas, it's known as a sundown town. It was a town that many blacks would avoid at all costs, never stop in, because they had Ku Klux Klan connections. They were allegedly racist there, and you're probably saying, don't say allegedly, it was true. So black families ran out in the 90s when they tried to the federal government tried to locate some black families there, but you thrived there.
I did. Somehow, some way. I think part of it was I just had an amazing family, and then I think the other part was, I don't know if it was the disguise that I put on. I was just trying to, fit in, and I think I did a good job.
But that was all you knew, because they told you, and one of the things you mentioned earlier was in the podcast, your grandparents or your grandmother or relatives told you, you're white.
If anyone asks, you're not black. Yeah.
And I mean, you didn't know anything else.
No.
And
it didn't feel right. Of course, I had this feeling like, but you just go with it, right? When you're that young, you're just like, all right, like this is the story I've got. I'm running with it. I mean, I made up all kinds of stories, like just to, try to keep it all going.
Right. All right. We'll be right back with you. So you have much.
Sometimes I think maybe people don't see race, because I clearly see this as a black woman. Like, clearly. What are the comments saying? I mean, yeah, she grew up safe. Somebody said she was loved. The situation was bizarre, but it's amazing her whole family poured into her. She needs to write a book. Wow, not Vidor. When we were little and would go to Louisiana, we would never stop in Vidor. I live in Houston, but I remember when I was moving to Houston from Missouri, I was told to never stop in Vidor. That was over 30 years ago. Yeah. Well, at least she had a good time in Vidor. I guess the Klan somewhere might be watching this like, how did we not see? Because I could see. Maybe they just don't see race. I don't know, y'all, but this is the end of the show. Y'all have an amazing day, and I'll be back tomorrow. Y'all stay blessed.